Hey, what's up, guys? It's Taylor, the guitar player. Yeah, I'm filming a testimonial video right now. Usually, I do guitar videos and stuff, but I just want to do this just kind of to share some different spiritual stuff and some different concepts I've been into the past couple weeks. So, the first thing I want to talk about is labels. And like, people are going to put certain labels on you and try to put you in a category or say this or that about you. But the truth is, you know your God given talent and your identity. And it doesn't matter anybody's label or whatever they think, you know? So, a good way to illustrate this, y'all know I'm a fan of anime, right? So, there's an anime I'm watching called Windbreaker, which is about like street gangs and social street gang philosophy. And the main character is on this rooftop with the guy that's like his captain above him, and he's concerned because he's just become the leader of the crew and he's got guys relying on him, but he's afraid that they're going to like not respect him for his flaws. Essentially, they're going to reject his flavor, you know what I'm saying? Whatever flavor he is, they're not going to accept that. So the the captain that he's talking to says, hey, wait, while you're saying, no, stop. He grabs like a bottle of green tea, and then he writes coffee and puts the label coffee on it. And he asks the main character, he says, is this green tea or is this coffee? And the main character says, I mean, it says coffee, but it's really green tea underneath. You know what I mean? Like, just because you put a label on it doesn't change the flavor or the contents of the bottle, right? So he says that, and the main character kind of realizes, you know what I'm saying? I can't worry about the labels that people put on me. Like, I am what I am. My flavor, you know, whether it's green tea, coffee, it could be Coke, whatever your flavor is, you know what I'm saying? You know what you are in the inside, and no matter what people may write on the outside, contents are not going to change you. So just remember that part. All right. Second thing about Windbreaker that I really like. So the main character, he has like a couple, two best friends that are like his right hands. And okay, how do I put this? So the main character is like a badass offensive fighter, like really good at like kung fu, like like quick advancing offensive moves. His right hand buddy, who's also a badass, like on the same level as him, is a good defensive fighter. So when they go into battle, they have like different strategies essentially. Where like the way they illustrate is cool too because they show like the main character kind of rushing in. He's like, oh, like you know, just like all action driven, going in, and then the defensive fighter is just more kind of like chill, relaxed, and he's like letting people come to him. So he's using the form of martial arts called Aikido, where you let your opponent come to you, or like jujitsu uses those principles. Um, and then the main character, the offensive fighter, is more kind of like kung fu, Muay Thai. You know, he's just going in on cats. So they got another buddy who can't fight at all. He's total nerd. Like he has all the technical knowledge though. So he knows the history of all the street gangs and the signs and the symbols. He knows all that stuff. So that when they're out in like gang territory, you know what I'm saying, or they're going out and it's like rival gangs, rival yakuza. You got other biker gang territories. They don't know where they at. The little nerd homie is the one that can look at the signs and read and decipher, and that's where his knowledge comes in. So, all right, why am I telling you all this stuff? I gotta look at my notes. I'm sorry, real quick. All right, why am I telling you all this stuff? So, different people's strengths and weaknesses complement each other, but it only works unless everybody has the same philosophy and the same vision about what they're working towards. So in this situation with the street gangs and like Windbreaker or Tokyo Revengers, it works because everyone is essentially on that same page about like what they want the organization to achieve. Let me illustrate this to you real quick. Check this out. Here. I hope you can see this all right. I'll write it on the paper too, so you have a smaller reference. There's a straight line or like a plane. You have one person here, one here. One person's strong at that, right? But maybe they're weak in this area, but another person, they're strong in that area. And then that person may be strong where this person's weak, so you end up like this. And then the same, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see what this creates here. So one person's strong in this area, but you see they lack here. There's a valley, strong here, valley. This person's weak here, but they've got the strength, weak here. It all comes together and complements each other. This is a sine wave. So music, sound waves operate like this. But here, let me get back to what I was saying. This is complementary because both people are in the same ideological plane. You see that? Even though one is strong here, the weakness, they're still on that same plane. Let me illustrate this. Sorry, I'm just learning this concept. And how do I illustrate this to you? We can keep that there. That's fine. And I'll show you on the smaller one. It'll be easier to explain it. I'll be able to break it down on the smaller one. When you have people operating from a different ideological plane or not even on the same plane, this is what happens. Here. Let me get rid of this portion. All right. Let's say somebody has a complementary set of skills to this individual here. So they're strong here, and watch. All right. As such. And then someone is strong here where this person may be weaker, but different. Anyway. What I'm trying to illustrate here, because these two waves are on a completely different ideological plane, even if these people have complementary skill sets that could work together, they don't operate on the same plane. So they never intersect. And that's the cause of a lot of attention, essentially. I'm basically just trying to illustrate how when people don't operate on the same ideological planes, that's what causes the tension, and that it can be illustrated as such. So here, let me draw it on the side for you real quick so you can see what I'm talking about. This is that line. There you go. So you see, this would be where people are working together, and as a sine wave, you've got one person strong here, but weak in this area. But then that person, you have someone strong here in the area where they're weak, but it all comes together and they're all aligned on that same ideological plane or that same vision of what goes on. I hope that makes sense to you. I know it's out there. And this is the first time I've tried to explain it. Two different lines. We have somebody strong in one area here and another person strong in that area. You see these two lines? This person here, it would help if they actually connected with them. You would have a wave. But because their mentality or their whatever, their creed, they lie on different frequencies, the two lines do not intersect. But Taylor, people change. Of course people change. You're not the same person that you were at 2 years old to 20, the same person that you were at 20 at 30 and then 40 and so on. People change and they go on what's called a tangent. So this is how a tangent works. Here, I have the picture of this actually. Okay. So a tangent is proof that people can change over time and alliances can shift People who were once your allies are now your enemies, and then your enemies are your allies again. And it's all one big moving thing. So this is a tangent. And I'll show you, see on the paper too. Sorry, it's not perfect, but okay. Line here, line here. Let's do another. Oh gosh, that looks bad. That looks bad. I've got to redo that. This one I wish I had like a little electronic screen or something, you know what I'm saying? Hook me up with that, but that's next on the list. Next on the list, y'all. That's how we do it. Like that. And I have it on the little paper too, so I'll show you in front of the camera. Okay, here we go. These lines, well, let me draw you the wave. I'm sorry. This is what the tangent looks like. This is another tangent wave. This is another tangent wave. And then you have what's called cotangent waves. One moves like that in the opposite direction. All right, what am I getting at here? These individual lines can be like ideological pillars. They can be like ideological pillars. Let me explain. Let's use politics. You can start out on the right side, or damn, on the camera. The camera's flipped here. Let's go out the left. You can start out on the left. This is y'all's left. Liberal, moving more this way to a different spectrum. You can start out Democratic. They've got libertarian here, Republican. You can be swinging between different things constantly in your lifetime. That's what I'm trying to say, essentially. These pillars are connected in terms of like thoughts. People don't always have a static mind frame in what's going on as we evolve as human beings. Where's my actual picture? Here we go. It's like this. So it'd be like, these are the different ideological pillars. It could even be religion. You could start out Islamic, moving more towards Buddhist, moving more towards Christian, whatever. But you see how these lines come together and they tend, like people go on tangents in their lives, is what I'm trying to say. What's cool about this, these graphs are used to also measure like ocean waves and things like that in currents. And yeah, this is a whole new concept I'm getting into. I don't even know how to explain it to y'all. All I'm trying to tell you is everything is constantly shifting. Everything is constantly moving. And that's why, damn, 14 minutes in. I can't stop on this. There was a core. I had this earlier. Everything's moving, so we just gotta keep it moving, and we have to forgive each other. I guess we have to remember that everything can change for someone, even though someone may be doing a certain thing, or I don't know. They can always change in their life. I can't explain that one, guys. It's really tough. I might have to redo that portion, but that's a really cool graph that I saw. And I'm going to move on to the next part because I think this video is getting too long now. So the other part that we're going to talk about is identity versus lie identity. All right. And I kind of got this from Myron Golden, who he lives a little bit of a lie identity in his life too, probably. All right. Your identity is the identity that you relate to, your God given purpose, your talents, your passions, all those things. Nobody had to tell you like those things. You knew it. The lie identity, these are the things that you're not. This is the stuff that people told you when you were younger, maybe pushed you into certain activities. You can't let that kind of shit define you. Now, are there people that have more success and have achieved tons of success living a life that is not their quote unquote life, a identity? Yes, they have. It's been proven. There's been out there. Yeah, you can do it. You can live a life that is a falsehood and still get ahead. But this is why you don't want to do it. And I'm going to break down these words and show you why you don't want to do that too. All right. Now, the history of the word identity. Identity relates to I am. Let me pull up these notes on here too, real quick, so I don't fuck this up. Identity also means the word I, Latin. It relates to ego. So I is automatically related to the word ego. In Greek, ego again. Sanskrit, aham, ego. When Moses stood before the burning bush and said, "Who shall I say sent me?" God said, "I am that I am." It's like the I represents your will that you are manifesting. Your I is connected to your true passion, your true love, because this is the thing that you use to create. It's your God power. God created everything, right? I believe He did. Your lie identity, that can be something where you're lying. What does lie intends? Falsehood, deception. When you lie, you recline from in a position of rest, as in to lie down. So when you're lying about something, you may be even just being lazy about not pulling from your true self. You're just saying, I'll take the label that society throws on me, like, okay, I just graduated and you know what I mean? I'm just starting my first little job, or it doesn't even have, you don't even have to be fucking young either. You could be old. You could have lots of kids. I'm 65 years old. I got all these kids. I've just been known as that my whole life, blah, blah. Anyway, a lot of people got a lot of different identities, and I'm just throwing out a few examples. What I'm trying to tell you is when you pull from a place of the I, you were creating. It's the I am. It's you're pulling from the will. So the identity is always superior to the identity because of that. All right. So now this is the actual personal testimony part because I'm talking about identity, lie identity. Who am I really? Who am I? I'm a person who's made a lot of mistakes, honestly. Last year, I fooled around. I got fired a bunch of times. I got arrested. I did videos where I was talking about this. I was doing stuff like somebody my age should not be doing these kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to tell you, this is what put me into that, on that track. So prior to 2024, I was all right. Just and when I say all right, I was literally just like had a mediocre kind of hustle. So I remember I was doing this like Google project, or it was the data entry management certificate. So it's like this data entry thing. I was doing that. I was recording tracks maybe once or twice a month. I would do a track, and shit. I would go to these open mics. I would go to open mic, which is where you go to a venue and you stand on stage and they pair you up with whoever and you play for like 10, 15 minutes, you know what I'm saying? And it's cool because you get a little bit of practice on stage. But I can tell you from having gone to so many different open mics, a lot of them have technical issues. You're not really playing with the tone that you want most of the time. Um, and these are also challenges that are good too, because it hones you in as a player. I guess my main point about the open mics is they're too short. You only get 10 to 15 minutes to really get it in. You do get the opportunity to jam with other people, but once again, it's such a short frame of time, 10 to 15 minutes, you can't really get in much. So if you look at my habits, 2023 going into 2024, yeah, I was hustling a little bit, but not much. I mean, yeah, when I look at my identity now, it's like I have to double down, and that's the message that I want to give to you. It's just like if you are in that same situation, maybe that I was in last year, you're in some kind of transition period, you're trying to figure things out, you don't know what's up. I would encourage you first to reflect on your true identity, your true vision of what you want, your ideological plane, right, so to speak, your vision. You focus on that, your identity, and then double down on that. So, like, my thing now, I'm not going to get into all my own personal stuff in terms of my goals, but I will tell you, I'm trying to double down now. What I started doing that's really fun instead of the open mics is I busk, which is where you like perform in the streets. And I like that because honestly, I had a bit of stage fright. Like I hadn't, like pretty much from 2020 to like 2022, I hadn't played like a whole lot of shows. Maybe like late 2022, I started getting back into it. You know what I'm saying? Playing shows and yeah, I want to put my shades on real quick because I'm feeling myself in my shades. Hold up, y'all. Look, so look, 2023 was going on. Like I said, it was that mild sauce hustle of just the open mic. Um, I've kicked it up this year where I've got the busking thing going on. I'm always recording tracks. Like I record a track probably every weekend. I don't always release a track though. That's different. Recording and releasing is two different things. But I definitely need to come out with a couple more creative projects. I got that in the works, and this is all stuff. I'm not trying to brag, and it's just more like if I don't stick to these goals, then I will be completely sidetracked, and that's just the crux of it. Is like craft these goals, make this itinerary for yourself, start going for these actions. You know, make the rest of your life the best of your life. You know what I mean? Like I remember my new manager was telling me this, where he's talking about when you really think about it, the first 21 years of your life are kind of wasted. Um, you're in training essentially. You're in school. You got a lot of people telling you what to do. You're not making no damn decisions. You're not really feeling. You may not be really feeling your profession, your occupation, whatever you're doing at 21, but that's okay. You may still have that feeling at 42, my nigga. But look, what I'm trying to tell you is your life. Use that time now. Do stuff whether you were scared or if you're unprepared. Just go ahead and go for it because there's no more time to be wasted. I already wasted 2 to 3 years after COVID, not trying to do that again. You know, had to hop back into the guitar stuff and performing and like doing all that. I had to say I don't necessarily need a band to do this too, because that's the other thing is thinking that I needed to have a band and this and that to get on stage. I would like a band for other things, and that's a different conversation.